down, YouTube? Danny G here in the house, ready for some Niners Eagles preview. And hey, this is like the first time I've used Restream specifically. I've used StreamYard before to interact with people, but there should be a link here in the description. I'm also actually broadcasting on Twitch as well, Danny G SFG TV. So we're on YouTube and Twitch here, Danny Golden TV. Which, by the way, hold on a second. Something's not right here. Hold on. We're missing something. There we go. That's much better. Got the Purdy jersey. Got to represent for our franchise quarterback, no matter what Colin Cowherd says, which I will get into that, trust me. But before I get into anything, just want to give a quick test, make sure we're streaming good on YouTube and good on. Well, I don't care a whole lot about the Twitch just yet. I'm gonna get that popular, but just gonna check, make sure we're good on YouTube because I'm using the. Okay, good shit. We're live. We're live on YouTube. Nice. There should be a link in the description if you would like to join this stream. Yep, got it. Got it right there in the description. So, this game tomorrow, Niners Eagles, rematch of the NFC Championship game, where we all know what happened. Now, that game was such a big gut punch because the NFL, like I said in my Eagles Hate Week video, the NFL was robbed of having such a great matchup. The two best teams in the NFC, two of the best teams in the NFL, because of just the unfortunate circumstances with Purdy getting injured so early in the game and Josh Johnson coming in. Now, Josh Johnson got hurt too, but before he got hurt, he played absolutely horrible. Not that you would necessarily expect Josh Johnson to be your quarterback to take you to the Super Bowl, but who knows? I mean, but for him to play as bad as he did was just really, really disappointing. But then, of course, he gets knocked out too, and then Purdy has to come back in when he can't throw more than 5 yards. It was just awful. It was cringe to watch and everything. But the Niners have a shot to redeem themselves from that. But the bottom line, though, is win or lose this game tomorrow, that's not what matters. What matters is being able to win a Super Bowl this year. So what matters is beating the Eagles. I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when they see them in the playoffs. And the goal is for them to see them at Levi's, for them to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. 2019-2020 season, the home field advantage and having that first round bye made all the difference. So the Niners beating the Seahawks week 17, the last game of the season, and being able to be the number one seed, have that first round bye, have that home field advantage is what helped them make it to the Super Bowl. Now, having Purdy at quarterback with nothing, and I say that with nothing but love to Jimmy Garoppolo and what he did, helped get the Niners back to where they needed to be. Brock Purdy is a way better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. And we already saw some of it last year. We saw a glimpse of it last year. He already beat the Cowboys and the Seahawks in the playoffs last year. So, but having Brock Purdy at quarterback and having home field advantage throughout the entire playoff, well, while being the number one seed, having the first round bye, because yeah, and just having the home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs would be epic. Just absolutely epic. So it's far from a must win. The Niners could, if they do beat the Eagles, though, that would break a possible tiebreaker and would give the Niners home field advantage if in a playoff scenario against the Eagles. Now the Eagles are 10-1. They only have one loss, which was to the Jets. But 8 of their 10 victories have been within 10 points. So the Eagles have just been hanging by a thread and just barely winning games. Heck, they almost lost to the Bills just last week. They won it on an incredible last-second field goal. This game could come down to the wire. We could see a similar game than we saw in 2019 when the Niners Saints shootout, which was one of the best games I've seen as a Niner fan. Now, because of the weather conditions, possible rain, it's not going to be good conditions, so I don't expect this game to be nearly as high scoring as that game was. But that being said, I could see it being a shootout. And that's what you're expecting because the Eagles are a damn good team. Jalen Hurts is a damn good quarterback. Jalen Hurts is kind of a different style quarterback than Purdy. Jalen Hurts runs a lot. Purdy doesn't run that much. When he needs to, he can, and that gives him an advantage too because since he's not much of a mobile quarterback when he does scramble, and that gave quarterbacks like Jimmy G that didn't run that much too. That gave him an advantage too. That the defense is not expecting, and then you can just kind of do it out of nowhere and gain some yardage. Purdy is one of the most collected, quarterbacks in the pocket, and he just always makes the right decisions with the ball. And if anyone would like to join the stream, the link should be in the description. We're on Twitch as well at Danny G SFG TV. This is Danny Golding TV here on YouTube. That's both my @ and display name on YouTube on this channel. I changed it recently from Danny G TV to Danny Golding TV to try to rebrand this channel. Man, I am just pumped for tomorrow though. Man, it's gonna be epic. Gonna be epic showdown. The Niners are also favored in this game, which is surprising, and I believe it's the first time since the 70s that a team that has been perfect. I actually learned this listening to Eric Burns' podcast, actually. The podcast from yesterday I listened today. It was, and I should have prepped this a little bit more and gave the exact stat. I'm just kind of going from memory on this stat, and I can look it up and give a more accurate stat, but it's the first time since the 70s, not sure that's what I believe it was, 60s or 70s, that a team with a healthy quarterback that has won more than 11 games hasn't been favored, I believe. Someone correct me if I got that stat a little bit wrong. I apologize. I kind of sounded like I'm all over the place with that, but the Niners are favored in this game, despite the Eagles having the better record, despite the fact the Niners just are recently coming off a 3-game losing streak. Now, that 3-game losing streak, that Browns game, of course, they would have won it on the Jake Moody field goal. And after they lost that game, I obviously wasn't happy that they lost, but a lot of people thought the Niners were going to make match the 72 Dolphins record of going 19-0. Well, heck, they'd be going 20-0 with an extra regular season game, so they would have broken it in that case. But so they lose that game, and I'm kind of like, well, at least you got that whole idea of going undefeated. You don't have to worry about that because that adds more pressure. Kind of like when the Warriors in 2016, 2017 were almost went undefeated for the entire playoffs, but then lost one of the NBA Finals games to the Cavs. Lost, it was game 4 to the Cavs in the NBA Finals, and then just won that series of 5. So they ended up only losing one game in the entire postseason. But that was added pressure to that. I mean, that's a Warriors team that was unstoppable completely, so that didn't make a whole lot of difference. But in NFL, this is a shortened season. After that Browns game, like, okay, well, kind of got the loss out of the way because it was going to come at some point. And that Vikings game, that's when you saw Purdy play well, but also make mistakes. But then he ends up, of course, getting, and that's not known until later in the week after that game, that he ends up getting, he's on concussion protocol after that. He's a little concussed. Now, a lot of people are blaming Steve Wilks for that loss in the defense. But hey, they lose 2 games in a row, which is crazy after winning your first 5. Now, before that Bengals game, the next game after that, I'm saying, like, hey, I don't think that Brock Purdy should start this game. He's not 100%. He got concussed. I was calling for Sam Darnold to start that game because that's when Purdy did look his worst, and he made the worst decisions. But he was not playing fully healthy, so of course they got the bye week, and then playing the Jaguars, they were just lights out in that game. And that was a game I did not expect us to just run the table against, because the Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence are already a good team. So I was not expecting them to just go into Jacksonville and blow them out. I expected them to win by maybe more than a touchdown, but I did not expect them to absolutely blow them out like they did. And that was a game where Christian McCaffrey's touchdown streak, technically, yes, but it's just basically a scoring streak in general. He had already broken Jerry Rice's record for that, and it was I believe 16 consecutive games that he had scored a touchdown. And that's the game where he finally did not score a touchdown. But then in these last couple games he's scored, and I even tweeted on Thanksgiving during that sit-out game, I was like, hey, Christian McCaffrey's going for another 16-game scoring streak, because he at times is just absolutely unstoppable. Frank Gore is my favorite running back in 49ers history. Probably actually my favorite player that I got of all time that I got to witness, because I didn't get to witness Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jerry Rice, or Ronnie Lott, or any of them play. So Frank Gore, out of the favorite 49ers that I've actually seen play, would be my favorite. Patrick Willis would be number 2, and I can come up. But man, I love watching Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy play. When I have a wife, kids, grandchildren, etc., years and decades from now, and I'm still making live streaming here on YouTube, making videos, making content, making Bay Area sports content, still in the trash talking circle, making hate week videos, I'm going to be talking about how Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey were some of my favorite 49er players that I've seen play. Now, Colin Cowherd is actually, and I'm a big fan of Colin Cowherd, actually. When I was 9 years old, actually, I would be in the car with my mom listening to Colin Cowherd when she would listen to him, and he actually was what helped me get into sports. And just his actual rants, how he's able to tie sports into just something else, and compare the two, is just absolutely remarkable. He just has a way of symbolism that I enjoy. A lot of people don't like Colin Cowherd. I think he's hilarious, and the way he's able to do that. But that being said, he did a really stupid one, which I'm gonna pull up right here. I apologize, I already had it in the queue before, but then went back to the studio. This is powered by Restream. Let's see how this comes out. Okay, so this is Colin Cowherd sometime this week.
There is one thing that does make me pause on San Francisco. I'm a big believer. I like my quarterbacks to be adults. I don't want them to be frat boys. So Jalen Hurts at the podium is the best podium quarterback in the league. Hat on forward, professional, almost manicured, got that CEO like, a real grown-up. Brock Purdy. Hey, you guys want to hit some golf balls? You got a hat on backwards. It's not a franchise quarterback. I mean, come on. If that guy came to move your couch, you'd be like, are you a professional? I don't know. I'm telling you, it really bothers me. Maybe I'm overstating. He's probably a nice kid. His dad needs to call him and say, turn that thing around. By the way, you guys say it doesn't matter. All right. I'm not saying you can't wear it backwards in the garage, playing Frisbee, but hacky sack, your baristas out there. I know that's the de facto, default, dress attire. Franchise quarterback, Wednesday podium. Jalen Hurts is how you want to look. Franchise quarterback, CEO, respectful to the owner and the organization.
Okay, that was Colin Cowherd, which, by the way, you got to love hearing his staff laughing at him in the background, because that is absolutely hilarious. And I don't think they were laughing at him or with him in that case. They were just laughing at how funny it was how he said that. But come on, Colin, really? Brock Purdy isn't a franchise quarterback because he wears his hat backwards? Are you fucking high? Speaking of that, I'm going to hit this dizzy a little bit. Hey, can we get Stizzy to sponsor? Hey, if anyone from Stizzy is watching, please sponsor me. But hey, Colin Cowherd. Just because Brock Purdy wears his hat backwards doesn't mean he's not a fucking franchise quarterback. I've watched 49ers football since I was 10 years old. I've watched 49ers football for 16 years. Brock Purdy is the closest that I've seen to a franchise quarterback. Absolutely. Alex Smith, the first few years I watched him, he looked not good at all, actually. I mean, he showed flashes, and I've always been a fan of Alex Smith personally and who he is. And heck, after he left the Niners, he had a great career. Well, not a particularly great career, but he had a pretty decent career. And 2011, Alex Smith was well. And hey, 2012, Alex Smith, before he got injured in that Rams game that we tied, and then Kaepernick, of course, took over, and the rest was history. Alex Smith was actually playing his best football that I thought he's ever played in a Niner uniform. But I never really thought Alex Smith was the franchise quarterback. That's why, despite how good Alex Smith was playing, and I did not admit this out loud because I didn't think Alex Smith deserved to completely lose his job because of how well he'd been playing, but I kind of secretly wanted Kaepernick to completely be the starter after that he played so well in that Bears Monday night game. Because Alex Smith was not a franchise quarterback. Now, we all thought Colin Kaepernick was going to become a franchise quarterback. I mean, in his rookie, or no, not his rookie year, because he was technically a rookie in 2011. In 2012, he was second-year quarterback. But heck, back when I was 15, I made videos here on my current channel that I'm on now. And I remember Hiroski, who's I've seen in Bashar's streams, actually corrected me in the comment. It was like, Kaepernick's not a rookie, he's a second-year quarterback, but it basically felt like he was a rookie because obviously he barely played in 2011. Alex Smith started. I remember they did and have Kaepernick on some trick plays, but Kaepernick basically was a rookie year, 2012, leading the Niners to a Super Bowl was incredible. 2012 and 2013, Colin Kaepernick, probably I would say one of the best mobile quarterbacks before Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. But more so, I mean, Mahomes will always be more of a passing quarterback. So before Lamar Jackson, I thought that 2012 and 2013 Colin Kaepernick was one of the best mobile quarterbacks of all time. That's just my opinion. And heck, well, Steve Young, also one of the great mobile quarterbacks as well. But yeah, Kaepernick did not end up being a franchise quarterback either. He regressed more than any quarterback you've ever seen. I don't know how. 2014, Kaepernick was completely different. He just was. He was awful. It was a meme. There was literally a meme of him being a trash can, which I thought was so accurate and hilarious, and it painted me. It pained me because how much I love Kaepernick, and I'm not gonna get into any of the stuff that happened in 2016 or any of 2015. To continue this timeline, wasn't any better, and then 2016 we all know what that whole controversy that happened. But so then the Niners take forever to find a quarterback. It feels like, well, actually not really forever, just about a year, because 2017 the Niners start off 0-9, be the 0-9ers. But then the Niners end up making a trade to acquire Jimmy Garoppolo from the Patriots. He was a backup quarterback to Tom Brady. Jimmy Garoppolo, 2017, absolutely lights it up, wins 5 games in a row, closes out the season, a terrible season on a good note, and then all of a sudden, everyone, including me, is thinking, hey, we finally have a franchise quarterback. And the Niners sign him to a 5-year, $137 million contract. And, I'm not going to say so, okay, this is 2017, and yeah, the 2018 season, everyone is fired up. Oh, we're going to have a healthy I don't even mean to bring up his health yet, but we're going to have a franchise quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's just going to absolutely light it up. He's going to be the quarterback that we've been waiting for since Jeff Garcia. Here we finally go. And then he gets injured. I believe it was week 3 against the Chiefs. And a play where he's trying to extend a play into a first down instead of going out of bounds. And he ends up tearing his ACL, and he's out for the whole season. And then, so to show what all the expectations were for Jimmy G, people thought that the season was done after week 3 just because Jimmy Garoppolo got injured. I mean, heck, in football, you need a quarterback to have a shot to win a Super Bowl. So, but still, like, that's how high everyone's expectations were on Jimmy G back in 2018. And that's how long it has been since the Niners have had a franchise quarterback. So then 2019 rolls around. Jimmy G starts to look good. The Niners go 8-0. Now, my take on how Jimmy G played in 2019 is he played good and bad, and towards the end of the year, he just basically felt like he couldn't do much except hand the ball off. He had some good games. I actually went to the Halloween game against the Cardinals that year. That was one of his best games. The Saints game, the 48-46 shootout that I referenced earlier in this stream, was probably his best game. I remember when they started off 8-0, he would throw touchdown passes, but he would throw at least one interception in every game as well that the Niners played. The Niners had won. It felt like, I don't know if probably wasn't every single game. I know there were some games where he didn't throw a pick, but it felt like he at least threw a pick in every single game. But that didn't really matter much because they were still winning, and he was throwing he would have had a better touchdown to interception ratio at that point. So it didn't matter a whole lot, but you're kind of like, okay, well, Jimmy G looks good, but he needs to look even better. And then, so basically, the Niners, they end up being the number 1 seed. They go into the playoffs, and it looks like Kyle Shanahan just does not trust Jimmy G. Because you're just seeing runs to Mostert, to Tevin Coleman, to so you're not seeing much of Jimmy G throwing action. So it just shows that Kyle Shanahan wasn't trusting Jimmy G as much. and they go to the Super Bowl and they lose it. Not all of Jimmy's fault, but he did miss a big throw to Emmanuel Sanders, and yeah. So they lose the Super Bowl. A lot of people are saying that Jimmy is not the guy already, and they even almost traded him to get Tom Brady, or they almost were gonna trade. They were almost gonna get rid of him and actually acquire Tom Brady, or sorry, excuse me, sorry, Tom Brady was already a free agent, so they just had to sign him. But so anyway, the Niners have not. Jimmy G was not the franchise quarterback for the Niners last season. After Trey Lance, and of course, yeah, we all know they trade all those draft picks for Trey Lance, expecting he's going to be the franchise quarterback. He's finally the mobile quarterback they need. Now, last year, of course, Trey Lance, he plays in that Monsoon Bears game. He starts the season, but they also have Jimmy G as the backup. A lot of people Bears game, despite being the Monsoon, they lose it. They're like, oh, Trey Lance, maybe he's not the guy either. Maybe you got to start Jimmy again. And then week 2, he gets injured against the Seahawks. He's out for the year. We see Jimmy G. And then he plays well until he gets injured in that Dolphins game, and Brock Purdy comes in, and since then he just lights it up and looks good. Barely even throws any interceptions. And even then, because of what we saw with Jimmy in 2017 and kind of because of the Niners' luck at quarterback, you don't know if maybe Purdy, maybe that was kind of a flick, as much as I didn't want to think that, because Purdy is just incredible. He's an Arizona kid, and too, which definitely helps my liking of him. But just his poise in the pocket, the decisions that he makes, the way he's able to extend plays, you haven't seen that from any other 49ers quarterback in my entire lifetime. And then with Brock Purdy, that all changed. And actually, let me check the chat. Shout out to Shafiki. So Colin Cowherd, he definitely is a franchise quarterback. But yeah, this game tomorrow, what I'm expecting it to be a high scoring game. I'm expecting Jalen Hurts to throw some touchdown passes. I'll probably expect DeAndre Swift to score a touchdown. That's crazy how Eagles, of course, have Jason Kelce, and then they have their running backs, Travis Kelce's brother, and then their running back's last name is Swift. That's pretty funny. And hey, DeAndre Swift is damn good. He's a damn good running back. That Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl rematch, he looked good. The Eagles looked good, but I still think the Niners are the better team right now, because the Niners, when they started off 5-0, they were scoring 30 points. They scored what they call the Purdy third, the 30 Purdy, the Purdy 30, and yeah, they scored 30 points in those first 5 games, and then there was a 3-game losing streak, and hey, they put up 30 against the Jaguars in Jacksonville and against the Seahawks in Seattle on Thanksgiving. But because of the weather conditions, I don't necessarily know if this will be a Purdy 30 game. Oh, by the way, Shafiqi's actually watching on Twitch as well. By the way, I don't get why you have that profile picture on there, but that's beside the point. But yeah, if anyone wants to join the chat and wants to join me, the link is in the description. Should be on both YouTube and on Twitch. On YouTube, I posted the link myself, but I didn't realize it was also already on there. But excuse me, hold on. Gotta use that cop button real quick. Now, I'm probably actually going to end this stream in a little bit, but before I do, I just want to touch on the recent radio changes that were made at KNBR in San Francisco, KNBR 680, 104.5 in the Bay Area. Now, the whole sports talk radio thing has always been a thing I've been a big fan of. And this year in the Bay Area, of course, Damon Bruce, who's kicking ass here on YouTube on the Plus, Damon Bruce Plus. He was laid off by 95.7 The Game back in March. And he actually made a video touching on the layoffs at KNBR. And basically just pointing out that radio right now is kind of a dying industry because of all the streaming and everything. So it wasn't necessarily the program directors. It definitely was not either Matt Nahigan, who's actually a good friend of mine on Twitter, who's the program director at 95.7 The Game. It was not his decision, when it was not Adam Copeland of KNBR, who's also hosts the show with Tom Tolbert, the afternoon drive show. He's the program director at KNBR. The decisions to let FP Santangelo and Paul McCaffrey go were not directly made by them. It was made by the people that run the corporations because they just couldn't afford to pay them what they needed to. But of course, Paul McCaffrey has been on KNBR for 18 years with Brian Murphy. Their morning show, the Murphy Mac morning show, was just a favorite by a lot of Bay Area sports fans. A lot didn't like it too, but hey, that's when you're on a sports talk radio station in a major market. Some people are going to like you, some people aren't going to like you, but they had a big fan base overall. Brian Murphy actually is still going to be on KNBR, but him not being with Paulie Mack is just, it breaks up the whole duo. And it's sad. And FP Santangelo, actually, I love listening to his show, especially last year during the Niners' big run, and when the Giants won the World Series in 2010. I remember listening to his post-game show the night after they won. That's something that I'll always associate with the Giants' 2010 run. And I was really enjoying when he returned to KNBR after becoming the Washington Nationals color analyst for a few years. So it's just sad and it sucks. But hey, Damon Bruce and Larry Krueger are kicking ass on YouTube. Of course, Larry Krueger also got laid off by KNBR a couple years ago as well. So, and YouTube, I've been a part of it since I was 12. I've made videos here, and that's why I'm just gonna get more into it. This first stream may have been a little rusty because the first time I've streamed in a while, and it's the first time I've done it with this new technology where you can stream to both YouTube and Twitch. Also got a new microphone recently, so I hope it sounds okay and everything. But just wanted to touch on the Niners, the Eagles game tomorrow, the big radio changes. The Warriors also lost tonight as well by 1 point, and the Warriors have not been playing a whole lot. Of course, Draymond Green just came back from his suspension. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the stream right now. But thanks everyone for watching, and thanks everyone that's watching the archive of it as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Danny Golding, or actually, excuse me, it's actually now called X, but it'll to me always be Twitter. So follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Danny Golding. I'll be tweeting about the Niners Eagles game tomorrow. Let's get this dub. Danny Golding, Danny G is out.